Are you seriously considering her as a
I just don't
candidate?
trust
Just
him.
don't trust
She's a woman.
She's a
This is a
woman.
man's
He's
job.
clearly not educated.
Really? Does she even speak English?
That's not me. I'm not like that. You call it an honest mistake. Science calls it a blind spot. Our unconscious mind is a mysterious and powerful thing. It makes 90% of our decisions without us even knowing it. Our brains are overloaded with 11 million pieces of information every second. Yet we can only process about 40 of them. So we're wired to make cognitive shortcuts, using past experiences to make assumptions. And you know what happens when we assume? Our unconscious mind can put us on autopilot, determining where we sit, who we eat lunch with, who we turn to for advice, and who we choose to offer a helping hand. Living our lives with blind spots can put us in a tunnel. Same point of view, same decisions, same outcomes. We can find ourselves trapped in the land of snap judgments and misconceptions. We've all been on both the giving and receiving end of blind spots. Think about it. Who's talented? Who's able? Who can I trust? Who belongs? We've all been there. Blind spots are part of the human condition. Our choices have consequences for us and the people we interact with. By accepting that blind spots exist, we can stop. Imagine what possibilities exist if we could do it all over again. Different perspectives, inclusive relationships, diverse networks, better outcomes, seeing people for who they really are. People like you, with unlimited potential. We all have blind spots. Once you accept that you have them, you can choose to do something about it. It's time to check your blind spots and focus on what's possible.
So here's what happens when you give someone cause, right? You look for all the ways to bring that cause to life, and you need the diversity and inclusion to see opportunity or see breaks that are gaps, because we all have different perspectives and different upbringings. Not better or worse, different.
Yeah.
Different, right? It's like even, let's just draw the line on like racial lines. We're like, rich people are happier than poor people. Are they? It's like, I know some people who came from meager means, who they understand teamwork, they understand resilience, they understand loving your mother, they understand gratitude, they understand hard work better than anybody, and they are good.
Yeah.
And I know some people who came from very wealthy means that never learned the skills of adaptability, that never learned the skills of coping, because everything came easy, and they struggle through life. So it's how you approach it. It's not the circumstances. This is Viktor Frankl stuff. If you can't change your circumstances, you change yourself. This is Viktor Frankl 101. We cannot control the world around us. What we control is our attitude. And so what diversity and inclusion is all about is about perspective. And so when you give people cause, they will look for ways to bring the cause to life through their perspective. So we have a cause in these United States. Our founding fathers wrote down for us in the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal. This is an idealized state that we will never get to, but we will die trying. And different people who have different perspectives, you can see trying to bring that cause to life. The abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, civil rights, gay rights. Somebody with diverse opinions and diverse upbringing said, hold on, I'm still not included in that. And so, we start a new effort, and all of those imperfect and ongoing in their own rights. So when we have a vision, when I say inspired, safe, and fulfilled, I only have my own perspective.
Yeah.
And I have unconscious bias, and I have blinders. But if I have lots of people on my team, we all have our own unconscious biases, and we all have our own blinders, but together we have a broad view.
Yeah.
And I need people from different religions, different races, different sexuality, different job experiences. I need people who have experience in something we've done before. And I love hiring people who have no idea about this job because they'll bring a new perspective.
Yeah.
I love putting people in jobs they don't know how to do. Just like I'd like taking people who are different than me and saying, how would you solve this problem? And that's the thing we forget. which is, you said, it's a program based on numbers and based on color or sexuality. It's none of those things. It's about perspectives. And different people have different perspectives and different upbringings and different perspectives, and all the infinite number of perspectives that exist in the world because of all the combinations and permutations. And the best companies are diverse because they have diverse thinking, diverse ideas. We make jokes constantly about, boards or companies that are made up of old white men. Why? Because there's one perspective. That's the joke. The joke is it's one perspective. And so the counter to that is, if it's not just old white men, but it's a diverse group of people with diverse experiences, magic happens. If there's a shared set of values and a shared vision. Without the shared values and the shared vision, then all of that diversity will subdivide into their little tribes, and they'll go and eat at the lunch tables all completely separately. And then you need your diversity and inclusion program because you never understood it in the first place.
Equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace. When we think about the topic of equality, diversity, and inclusion, we sometimes think of the Equality Act 2010, but this is only the tip of the iceberg. The 9 protected characteristics are very important in identifying what is protected by law. But what about our behaviours at work? So let's take a closer look at this topic. Equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunities. The Equality Act 2010 safeguards those with protected characteristics from discrimination in the workplace. Equity, on the other hand, recognises that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. An equity approach emphasises that everyone should not be treated the same, but according to their own needs. Diversity is to respect and enjoy a wide range of cultural and individual differences, thereby including everyone. Diversity goes beyond recognizing that we are different in measurable ways. Diversity is inclusion. And inclusion at work reflects an environment where all individuals are treated fairly and with respect, regardless of their background, identity, or circumstance, having equal access to opportunities and resources which allow them to contribute to the organization's success. The idea behind the iceberg model is that culture is pictured as an iceberg. Only a very small proportion of the iceberg is visible above the waterline. The tip of the iceberg is in fact supported by a much larger, although invisible part underneath the water. This part of the iceberg is its foundation. Above the waterline, examples of visible parts include food, style of dress, music, and language. But the powerful dimensions of culture are the more difficult to spot. The social norms, the values, the basic assumptions about space and time, and the concept of justice and of self. The iceberg model of culture implies that the visible parts of culture are just expressions of the invisible parts. It highlights the difficulty of understanding people from different cultural backgrounds, because although we see what's above the waterline, we cannot immediately realize what the foundations are. Unconscious bias is implicit preference. It refers to a bias which we're unaware of and which happens outside of our control. It is a bias that happens automatically and is triggered by our brain making a quick judgment and assessment of people and situations. It is influenced by our socialization, background, cultural environment, and personal experiences. It may be responsible for negative assumptions and unwitting discrimination against people who may be considered different and do not share the same values, background, and culture as ours. When we embrace organizational equality, diversity, and inclusion, there are huge benefits for all of us. Increased productivity, a rise in creativity, more innovation, fast problem solving, and better decision making. So we all have a duty to foster and embrace equality, diversity, and inclusion. Let's get started.